Victoria Principal finally speaks up about Paul Newman at the age of 75. Victoria Principal was born Vicky Ree Principal on January 1, Fukuoka, Japan, on the November 3, 1950. She became one of the most famous TV stars of the late 20th century. A lady whose beauty, willpower, and business sense made her a lasting cultural figure. She was born into a military family and spent her childhood moving from country to country. This let her see things from other points of view, made her more adaptable, and helped her develop her poised cosmopolitan personality. During these formative years, she lived in a variety of locales, including England, Puerto Rico, and the United States. This exposed her to many cultures and people, which ultimately sparked the curiosity and perseverance that would define her as an adult. Victoria was very serious and independent from a young age. She started modeling when she was a teenager, but her love of drama is what made her want to become an actress. After surviving a terrible car accident that nearly killed her when she was 18, she had to spend months recovering and thinking about her future. She made the brave choice to move to New York City, where she studied at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts American branch and worked hard to improve her skills. That mix of hard work and ambition paid off swiftly. She got her first big movie part in The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, 1972, with Paul Newman. Just a few years later, her performance got her a Golden Globe nomination, which got Hollywood's attention right away. She was a young newbie with striking looks and a strong presence on screen. In 1978, Victoria Principal got the role that would define her career, Pamela Barnes Ewing, on the landmark TV show Dallas. The program became a cultural phenomenon, and Victoria's character Pamela, who was warm, moral, and emotionally stable, was a counterweight to the money and power conflicts that defined the rest of the Ewing family. Millions of people watched the show every week, not just to see the dramatic twists, but also to see Pamela go through heartache, hope, and personal growth. Victoria and Patrick Duffy, who played Bobby Ewing, had such a natural and liked chemistry that they became one of the most famous couples on TV at the time. Her performance showed that she could play deep emotions in a subtle way, which shaped the emotional heart of the series for almost 10 years. But Victoria Principal was never a lady who only had one way to go. Even when she was at the height of her celebrity in Dallas, she was quietly building the groundwork for a second career that would also be successful. This time as a beauty and businesswoman, she started Principal Secret, a line of skincare products, in 1989. It was based on her long-standing passion in wellness, self-care, and personal empowerment. The brand that grew out of her belief that beauty starts with taking care of yourself from the inside out became a huge hit. Victoria was one of the first famous people to get into the beauty industry, not as a figurehead but as a skilled and dedicated business leader. She was hands-on and had credibility as both the company's founder and ambassador. For decades, her business did well, making her a trailblazer for many of the celebrity-founded beauty businesses that are now popular. Victoria Principal, who is best known for her role on Dallas, didn't just conquer the world of TV. She also had a huge impact as a best-selling author. Throughout the 1980s, Principal wrote a series of important books about beauty, health, and personal well-being that millions of people around the world read. Her first book, The Body Principle, came out in 1983 and gave women new ideas about fitness, nutrition, and holistic self-care. It helped them live healthier lives long before wellness became a popular thing to do. Building on that success, she published The Beauty Principle in 1984. It was a guide that blended expert skincare advice with useful ideas on grooming, style, and self-confidence. This was because she believed that beauty starts from inside. In 1987, she wrote The Diet Principle, which gave readers smart ways to manage their weight, eat well, and live a healthy life in a way that lasts. In 2001, Principal came back to writing with Living Principle, a very personal book that went beyond physical health to include mental and emotional health as well. In it, she shared her ideas on how to live a balanced and fulfilled life. She has had a long and successful career in entertainment that is just as impressive as her writing. Principal has been nominated for 2 Golden Globe Awards, which shows how talented and influential she is in Hollywood. Her books and awards have encouraged generations of followers to not only look their best, but also feel their best, showing that her influence goes far beyond the silver screen. Victoria has always been known for her kind heart and charitable work, In addition to her work in entertainment and business, she started the Victoria Principal Foundation for Thoughtful Existence, a charity that helps the environment, animals, and people in need after disasters. 3 things that have always been important to her. She has made important contributions well beyond Hollywood, whether it's helping wildlife recover, fighting for ocean protection, or helping communities that have been hit by natural disasters. People are often interested in Victoria Principal's personal life, partially because she is a well-known actress in Hollywood, especially for her long-running role as Pamela Barnes Ewing on Dallas. She has been married and divorced twice, and she has opted not to have kids so she can focus on her job, hobbies, and charity work. Her love life has sometimes gotten in the way of her work life, which has made things interesting for both fans and the media. She dated actor Anthony Perkins while filming The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean in 1972. This was one of her first and most famous romances. This relationship was especially interesting because sources say it was Perkins's first time being with a woman, making it a unique and memorable time in both of their lives. Principal's first husband was Christopher Skinner, a writer and producer. They met in 1978 while working on Dallas. Skinner was mostly a writer and producer behind the scenes, but he had a short role in front of the camera for the show. It was during this time that their paths crossed. Their relationship grew swiftly, and they soon made plans to get married. This was the start of Principal's first major chapter in his marriage. Their marriage, which started out with a lot of hope and promise, didn't last long. They realized that their disagreements were too big to fix in just 2 years, so they filed for divorce in 1980. The divorce was legally over in 1981. This was the end of Principal's first effort at a long-term relationship, and it changed the way she thought about personal relationships as her career took off. After her divorce from Skinner, Principal had a very public romance with English-Australian singer-songwriter Andy Gibb. Fans and the media were both interested in the couple right away when they met on The John Davidson Show in January 1981. Their partnership was based on both their personal chemistry and their work together. They worked together to make a duet called All I Have to Do Is Dream, which had a small hit on the pop charts, reaching number 51 on the Billboard Hot 100 in September 1981. There were a number of reasons why this recording was important. Andy Gibbs's last single before he died too young, and Victoria Principal's sole single ever. Even though their romance seemed promising, the relationship didn't last long and ended in March 1982. The main reason for the separation was Gibbs's growing problems with substance abuse. In later interviews, especially with People magazine, Principal talked honestly about the problems she had throughout this time. She said, "Our breakup was preceded and caused by Andy's drug use." She said, "I did everything I could to help him, but then I told him he would have to choose between me and his problem." This showed how caring she was and how strict her limits were. Gibbs's terrible death in 1988 just made that part of her life seem more fragile and had a lasting emotional effect on her. Principal's personal life became more solid in 1983 and she met Dr. Harry Glassman, a well-known plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. Their relationship became stronger over time, and they got married on June 22, 1985, in Dallas, Texas. By then, Principal had already been playing Pamela Barnes Ewing on Dallas for 7 years, which had made her a household figure. She had never felt as safe and connected in a relationship as she did after they got married. The couple lived in Beverly Hills for more than 20 years, during which time they faced the obstacles of having high-profile jobs, being in the public eye, and growing as people. Principal filed for divorce in May 2006, saying that they couldn't work things out. Even though their marriage ended, Principal talked fondly of their time together, saying, "We have had a loving relationship for over 20 years. The divorce was complete in December 2006. It ended a long chapter in her personal life, but she learned a lot and became stronger by being in a long-term relationship." Victoria Principal, the actress and businesswoman best known for playing Pamela Barnes Ewing on Dallas, has now talked about her long-closed chapter with Hollywood superstar Paul Newman at the age of 75. Principal has always been careful not to get too involved in public conversations about her personal life, but now she is open about a relationship that had a lasting effect on her. She thinks back on Paul and how amazing he was, not only as an actor but as a person. He had a captivating aura that pulled people in, but he was also humble and gentle, which is not something you see a lot in Hollywood. It was motivating, humbling, and sometimes too much to be around him. Her statements show not just how much she admired Newman's work, but also how much he affected the people who were close to him. Principal talks about the early days of their friendship, when they were both dealing with the ups and downs of rising prominence in the entertainment industry. She remembers meeting Paul for the first time on a movie shoot. He possessed a natural charm that didn't need to be faked. People were drawn to him, but he made you feel like you were the only one there. I recall thinking, this man isn't just good at what he does. He's one of a kind. Her comment highlights the mix of professionalism, charisma, and real warmth that made Newman so well-liked both on and off-screen. In her memories, Principal also talks about the real person behind the Hollywood legend. She says that while millions loved Newman's performances, it was his honesty that made a lasting impression. Paul didn't merely act, he lived with honor. She adds that he had a moral compass that was almost tangible. He really cared about people, the world, and leaving behind something that mattered. That's the kind of effect that lasts long after the cameras stop rolling. These comments show that Principal still respects Newman as a man of principle and character, not just as a co-star or celebrity. His legacy went well beyond movies. Principal's discovery comes at a time when people are still interested in looking back at Newman's life and career, which shows how complex his legacy is. She honestly says that working with him taught her things and made her think about herself. She says that being around Paul made her want to be better, not just as an actress but also as a person. He had a way of pushing her to be great without being too pushy. You could feel his support even when he didn't say it out loud, and in that setting, you learned how to be strong and speak up for yourself. From this perspective, the Principal not only shares her own story, but also stresses how important it is to have real relationships and mentors in the often shallow world of Hollywood. Finally, Principal recognizes that going back to memories of Newman is both good and bad. Even though time has passed and each have had their own successes and failures, she is thankful for the bond they had. I will always remember the times I had with Paul, she says. It's magical to know that you've met someone whose spirit is bigger than life and who changes how you see the world. Paul was that person for me, and I think that's why others hold him in such high regard. Her comments are both an homage and a testimonial, reminding fans and admirers that every movie star has a very human narrative behind them that is full of relationships, influence, and enduring impact. Victoria Principal's 75th birthday is a tribute to Paul Newman. It also gives the public a chance to meet the man behind the myth, a brilliant artist, a kind person, and a person whose presence changed lives both on and off the screen. Through her honest memories, Principal gives fans a look at a side of Newman that few people knew about. She captures the essence of a legendary friendship that went beyond stardom and lasted in subtle, important ways. She says in conclusion, I've waited a long time to talk about this, not because I wanted to keep it a secret, but because some things are too important to rush. Paul was one of those people.